What's up YouTube, and welcome to Homebrew Subaru. In this episode I'm going to be installing some new front lighting onto my Forester, something that I've kind of had on the mind for a long time. The fog lights that I have in the Forester are just, let me show you. Now the fog lights that are in there are not original, obviously. They're something I got it from Canadian Tire clearance shelf like 10 years ago. I think I paid like $40 or $50 for them. And even though they've held up this whole time, they just don't light up the road very well. And I'd rather put in some LEDs. I was thinking of changing the LED bulbs, but really I just thought I'd go with a completely different lamp altogether. Now I did find some lights on Amazon that I really liked, and I think these 4-inch rounds will work perfect for fog lights. It's just one giant SMD LED inside of them. And really mounting them is going to be about the same as what's in there, and having that nice yellow light. I've powered them up to see what it looks like. They are very bright and they're going to really light up the road the way that I want them to. And well, at the same time I've decided to put some ditch lights on. Not that I really need them, but I just felt like if I'm going early morning fishing or being out in the winter on the trails, it's a lot darker in the mornings and nightfall comes a lot sooner, so having something like this, just a little bit more safe, and just being able to see around the vehicle a little better as I'm driving. These are not as bright as those, so they just cast enough light to illuminate the area. Getting them mounted was another thing, so I started looking for mounting brackets to actually get them to mount onto the Forester. And these come from a company called HRG Off-Road on eBay. It comes with all the instructions. A really nice powder-coated piece. And I think with the shipping they were just over $100. Yeah, these brackets are really nice. And then I just noticed they got some good stainless hardware in there. And then it's mentioned in the instructions that it's a little bit shorter than what you would get with standard ditch lights, just to protect from hitting the hood at all. And then I do actually have this insulated 2-wire that I was going to use, but I may use something heavier for these ditch lights. I know they're not drawing very much, but I'd rather something a little larger. And then the fog lights are pretty simple because there's already wiring there for them. I just got to get them all attached. And then of course the brackets for both sets of lights. And then there's one more thing that I've got to go out to the car in the backyard to go get. I think maybe next year I'll finally get rid of this thing. Now, this is what I want to get out of here because it'll pop right into the Forester dash. And then just a little snip back there. A little push over here. Maybe. Oh yeah. Alright, so this is going better than I thought it was going to. I've already got that bracket installed. I put a new stainless bolt in there because, well, the fog light that came off the bracket was so rotten that when I went to go turn it up, it basically snapped the bracket. And then I had to go ahead and cut the head off just so I could get that old bracket out. And the wiring, fortunately enough, I left the original connectors on the wiring and moved them over to the new lamps. And well, I've already got the connector already soldered onto this lamp, so it's ready to go install. I just need to fasten the hardware on the sides of the bracket, plug the lamp in, and I'll have one side done. And wow, those are awesome. So the fog lights are finished. I'm ready to move on to mounting the ditch lights next. So first it's just going to be a matter of loosening these 12mm bolts off. And trying to keep the position of the hinge on the actual hood. Now if I had planned this a little better, I would actually have stainless bolts to put back in here, but These bolts aren't in bad shape. Now it's just a matter of getting through the bracket and the hinge to line up with the hood. For real, like for real. Because I've tried this about 3 times now, and the hinge is actually preventing it from lining up. Now, having a better look at this, the hinge in the picture is actually different. It comes in right underneath that hole over to the side and gives you tons of space to actually bolt it onto. The other thing I notice is the lip on it actually curls down out this way instead of up into the hood. So I got the idea to put the bracket on the inside of the hinge just because it will not go on the outside. This hump right in here just prevents it from going on. So I'm going to try it this way. It looks like it's going to work. It's just probably going to misalign the hood at the rear about 1/8 of an inch, probably not noticeable. Alright, so I have that light installed without too much issue. The hood is misaligned just slightly, which is not a problem. It's always function over form here. And I do want to have this light kind of over to the side shining on the ditch. I want to get a good span of light going across the front of the Forester and actually light up turns before I actually turn into them. So I'm going down a dark fire service road or a trail. These things are going to light up the road next to me really well. So I've got the other side installed, and I think I've got them adjusted the way that I want them. It's time to move on to the wiring next. So I've already got the lower panel or the knee bolster removed, but something I wanted to note before, a couple things I wanted to note before actually starting into the wiring was I added this cushion that I found on Amazon, and it's just got like a peel off stick on backing that is extremely sticky. So just giving the plastics a good wipe down with alcohol, letting it dry, sticking that on there. This is one of the best upgrades I've made to the Forester. It is so soft, and what I noticed is on the long drives my shin and knee would be up against this hard plastic and really starting to agitate me. This makes driving so much more comfortable. I can't even really explain it. I actually have a second one. I may put one on the Impreza, I'm not 100% sure. It's just something that I guess comes with age. These type of hard plastics were not meant to rub up against your body for hours on end. So having something like that has made a big difference. Another couple things to note is the wiper stock has been changed out to the actual one that came with the Forester. I had stolen it from the Forester to put in my Outback Sport to have intermittent front and rear wipers, and I kind of went without them for a long time. So I've put that back in there, and then the head unit as well. I ended up putting in this Kenwood double din that I also had in my old Outback Sport that I like the sound out of this one a lot more than the one that was in here, and just being double din, it kind of looks a little nicer. And then coming back over to the wiring, I've actually have a circuit already brought in from the battery that's fused, and it's powering up a relay that I'm going to sneak power from to also power up these ditch lights. But that I brought that in there because these seats are actually out of a 99 Forester S that were heated. The original seats in here were not, so I ended up stealing them in and putting them in here, but had to wire up a circuit that would actually power them up. So the switches went right in, and you'll see these style switches are pretty much the exact same as what you'll get in these switch panels. And these switches are so common. They were like between Nissan and Subaru, and I think even Toyota used them. And literally you just kind of push on that little depression thing, the dummy falls out, the new switch goes and just pops in there, and now I have 2 fog light switches, but this inner one will be for my ditch lights. Okay, so I've got this all together. It's taken me the better part of a couple hours to get this all wired up. I've moved the fog light switch over next to the ditch light switch, and I've also rewired the fog light switch with one single circuit down to its relay, so that the fog lights can be now independently controlled from whatever position the headlight switch is in. So even when the headlights are off, I can still turn the fog lights on and actually use them as daytime running lights if I really want to. Disable daytime running lights again by running ground over to the parking brake switch. So really at this point, everything is wired the way I want it. Turn the ignition on and just turn the park lights on, and then the headlights, high beams, low beams, and then I can turn the fog lights on, I can turn them off, I can turn the ditch lights on, I can turn the fog lights on, and kind of use them independently. I can turn the headlights off and turn the fog lights and ditch lights on or off. Everything works the way that I want it to. But next I'm going to show you what the lights look like here in the garage, and then when night comes I'll back the Forester out and get into a dark location and we'll see what they actually look like out in the dark. Alright, so it's not like crazy dark out, but it's getting pretty dark. The street lights have come on, and I'm just going to turn this light off, kind of turn you guys around so you can kind of see out of the windshield. That's my headlights, the high beams. You can see I got a camera set up out there, and then the fog lights and the ditch lights. So I'm going to pull up closer to that camera just so we can get a better idea of what everything looks like. That's just the fogs and the ditch lights together. So you got a really nice spray off to the sides there. Pull up a little closer here so the camera can get a really good look at everything. There's a little bit of a dead spot over there. I might have to do a little adjustment to something. Maybe the fog light needs to go a little bit to the right. But everything else looks really good. It's just the headlights, just the ditch lights, and ditch lights without headlights, the fogs only. It's badass. So yeah, I am really happy on the way those turned out. I'm glad I took the extra time to rewire that fog light circuit so that they'll actually work independently from the lights. And believe it or not, I have a little bit more lighting to do, but we're going to save that for the next episode, and you guys will have to check back then. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.